Hi guys, welcome back to the channel at College Process. Once again, I'm Ed from Principia Prep. What we're going to be doing today is going to go through all the questions you guys leave on the comment section. As many of you do know, if you're watching this video here, if you watch my other videos, every Friday I take all the questions you guys leave for the week, and I basically answer all the questions in video format to give you guys more detail to your questions, give you more basically information on the questions you're asking me here for, the stuff you're asking about college. Now, I've missed a couple of weeks, so I'm going to go back basically a little bit over 2 weeks back and start with answering all the questions today, everything you guys have left me here. If you're new to the channel and do have questions though, please leave them on the comment section of any of the videos. Any questions you guys have, this is the videos coming, the questions coming from. So whatever question you guys are watching, leave the video question for, I'll see it in my comment section and I'll answer it. All that being said, let's jump right into the questions here again. So the first question here from just over 2 weeks ago is about quitting your job and how it affects financial aid, or if you're retired, how it affects financial aid. And the question here from Donovan is, what about choosing to leave your job to have more time to take more credit hours? I'm looking to finish school as soon as possible, and I know I can get it done by next year, but I need to take time off to allow me to study. Now, when it comes to leaving your job to be able to finish school itself, if you're the student, then it's different. Now, the video itself explains that if you take time away from your work as far as you leave your job, or you're the one who basically lets go of the job rather than them letting you go situation, financial aid looks at it different. But when it comes to you as a student, if you're leaving your job as a student to be able to go out and finish your college education, then it's different. Then it's basically the same thing as if they were let you go, or if you were basically letting yourself go. They're the same exact thing. If it's a parent letting their job go, the financial aid office looks at it differently. They look at it kind of like against you, where if your job were to let you go, if you're the parent, i.e. using your information financial aid wise for the student, it's something completely different. If you're the student, then they don't look at it negatively. So if you're looking to leave your job to be able to go back to school and finish and do everything else you can do credit wise, academically to finish college, that's perfectly fine. This will not affect your financial aid whatsoever. That being said, let's go to the next question here. Seems to be here from Thomas. The question is coming in. My niece goes to Seton Hall. She gets financial aid. She's a sophomore now, living on campus. Tuition is $69,500. She gets $12,000 in scholarship money. She gets the max aid available, I guess, to her. Let me just click here to just give you more of the question here. Plus Nelnet loan for $10,000 a year. Our family paid the difference, for which she came to about $35,000 a year. Dorm cost breakdown is $5,600 a semester. Now she wants to live off campus, and we have no idea how that will work. To be honest, we're going to take out a loan for the next 2 years to cover the difference in tuition, because we hope to be in a better position in a few years to help her pay off the loan. She's going to financial aid office tomorrow morning to find out. Thank you. Now, when it comes to financial aid, if your daughter looks, or your niece here, looks like she's getting most of the bulk of her financial aid in scholarship form, as far as the $12,000 is coming in from scholarships, that will not be affected whatsoever. As far as living on campus or living off campus, she's still going to get the same scholarship amount. If she were to get grant money, though, any grant money based on financial need, and she does move off campus, then grant money typically does get adjusted, because in the world of college, you have two different budgets. You have a commuter budget, which is not counting the housing of the school or the food. Then you have a resident budget, which is counting the residency of the dorm as well as the food. So the budget's higher. So there's more space to provide financial assistance. But in your case, in your situation here, since you're not getting any grant money, it will not be affected whatsoever, the $12,000 she's getting. Okay. That being said, let's go to the next question here. Okay, next question is from James here. When will San Diego Mesa deposit 2023 spring first Pell Grant to bank? Now, if you're asking, when is your school that your student's attending going to be providing that Pell Grant for the spring semester, it should have already hit your account. Once the semester starts, that money that the federal government's giving you in the form of Pell Grants will typically hit basically before your student even starts, to help pay down the bill before the semester even starts. If you are receiving Pell Grants, or if on your FAFSA indicates you should be receiving Pell Grants, then I would definitely be contacting the financial aid office if you don't see it on your package, as far as on the billing side, being deducted from your student's educational costs here, because it should have already came through. So that being said, let's go to the next question here from Jose here. Let's see here. How can a student get a state or private loan if they do not have a line of credit? My daughter is only 17 years old, class of 2023. Unfortunately, when it comes to student loans, believe it or not, there is no lenders out there, no state lenders, no private lenders that will allow a student to take out a loan by themselves. The lowest threshold for a student to be able to take out a loan by themselves is they must be at least 25 years or older and have a job paying typically around $35,000 to $40,000. That's at the lowest limit, lowest requirement, let's call it, any lender on the private or state side that will allow your student to take out a loan by themselves. every loan out there, except for the federal direct loans, which they're already getting by filling out the FAFSA, the $5,500 for freshman year, $6,500 for sophomore year, $7,500 for junior and senior year. Those loans are automatically given to your student, regardless of age, by the way. However, anything above those amounts, they must be a cosigner in place. So to be able for your daughter to take out a loan, a private lender or a state lender, they can be the borrower, the student can be the borrower, but they would need a cosigner to help bridge the gap of not having any credit available to be able to get them any additional loans on the private or state side. That being said, let's go to the next questions here. And this is from Nia. Is it better to do work study or housing scholarship of $3,000? I'm not sure what you mean by housing scholarship. If the school is providing you housing as far as being a resident assistant versus doing a work study program, I would rather do a resident assistant. So if the school is saying to you, if you basically work as a resident assistant here in the school and you basically monitor the floor, then we give you free room and board. I'd rather go that way rather than taking work study. Now the reality is you can do both the housing resident assistant and do work study. You can do both, to be honest with you. There's not a specific situation where you can't do both unless there's not enough financial aid space in your financial aid package. But typically, if you are eligible for need, you can actually do the work study program and get the RA if the school has spaces available for your student to become a resident assistant to allow you guys to get free room and board. But if it's one or the other, I would rather go with the housing scholarship. If this is something the school does where your student's going, you can either do work study or housing grant or scholarship. I'd rather go for the housing scholarship. That being said, let's go to the next questions here. This is from Hoga here. My son applied early action university. My son converted application to early decision, ED, but after he received waiting list, he did and how many chances. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking here, Hoga. If you want to restate your question, if you're asking if he did early decision and then changed his mind as far as he wanted to change it to early action, I'm not sure if you can do that right now, because right now, basically all the early action, early decision deadlines are already passed and the decisions have already been made for these things. Or if you're asking, can he change his mind if he got accepted to early decision as far as he's locked in? If you want to just give me a little bit more wording or detail to your question, I will answer it next week. But if you get accepted through early decision, it's technically a binding contract. So essentially, he's basically saying, I'm going there by having done the early decision paperwork. So if he got accepted early decision, there's really no way of getting out of it unless financially you guys are having a burden. And I would contact Gettysburg, because Gettysburg is actually a very generous college. If you did have a financial issue, I'm pretty sure they would help you out. It's one of the most generous colleges, especially here in the Northeast. That being said, let's go to the next question here. All right, here's the next question. As you guys have seen my other videos, I don't read the comments of like great video or high school stuff. I just read your questions for this specific video here. Okay, but I thank you guys for all the comments. Here we go. This is from Deadshot420. I have a FAFSA account. It did not let me finish the FAFSA form. It keeps saying, thank you for your patience. The system is unable to complete the process. Please return to the FAFSA role. What you're probably having is an issue I've seen a few times this year and the previous year, unfortunately, for you filling out the FAFSA form. Now, on the FAFSA form, if you get to a certain point, and it won't let you move past that point. So if you keep pressing next as far as continue, and it keeps either crashing, or you come back the next day, it gives you an error message. Unfortunately, what you need to do is you need to go into the FAFSA and restart it. Once you start the FAFSA, you can actually click on reset when you log into the FAFSA site, when you log in as a student. You can click on the reset button to start all over again. So basically from page one, first name, last name, social, etc. If you're not able to keep going through as far as the pages you've saved, I would just reset it and start all over again. This has been an issue for the last 2 years, unfortunately, as far as different errors within the system. And the only way of fixing it, unfortunately, is you got to start all over again. If it won't let you keep going through a certain section after you press the reset button, you're going to have to call the 800 number. I'll put the 800 number on here now so you guys can see here. Call them up, let them know your issue. You get a human being, so it's not a machine, and they'll explain to you what they can do to help force the form through if they need to. Let's go to the next question here. All right, next question is from Brooklyn. Under my son's FAFSA, it's showing direct plus loan. There shouldn't be any direct plus loan showing on any student's accounts. You might be logging into your FAFSA and you're seeing a federal direct plus loan, because the federal direct plus loans are only in the parent's name. So just double check you're logging in as your student. If you are logging in as your student and you still see a parent plus loan on the file, I'd call, once again, the 800 number here up or on here, and just double check with them for whatever reason, because the students should not have any parent loans. on their accounts, because the accounts are actually specific to Social Security numbers, names, and birthdays. So the student does have a Parent Plus loan that the parent took out. It wouldn't be to help pay for their college education, obviously. That Parent Plus loan would not be on the student's FAFSA account. It would be on the parent's FAFSA account, which is a completely different account. That being said, let's go to the next question here from Michelle Moore here. Thank you. How do you assess what colleges do with the EFC when you have more than one child in college at the same time? Now, when it comes to students going into school, as far as multiple students going to school for a family, I always suggest the families doing the net price calculators. I'll put a link here. I do have a video on about the whole thing, how it works as far as the net price calculators. You can watch this video too, give you more explanation on it. But typically when you have multiple students going to school, that lowers your ability to pay for college, because obviously you have two of them going in or multiple students going in at the same time. The more students you have going in, the more likelihood you have of aid availability to you in the form of grant money. So I would definitely be doing the school's net price calculators and plugging that in. They have multiple students going to college to see how generous the schools that you're looking at can be towards your family based on you having multiple students going in at the same time. That being said, let's go to the next question here. Soji here. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name. Thank you for the videos. Very helpful. My daughter was accepted by college A and B, but only college A is giving her significant grant money so that our EFC covers the rest of the cost of attendance. College B is giving her a lot less grant money than the EFC indicates on the FAFSA. If she wants to go to college B, can we appeal? Yes, I would typically appeal the top tier school that student wants to go to, especially if your student's considering or they're looking at the opportunity to get more money from the school. The worst thing that most schools can say to you is no. So the reality is you have to figure out, obviously, as I talk about here in the video, understanding your financial aid award letter, you got to kind of figure out, what are you negotiating, which I talk about here in the video, obviously. Am I negotiating the scholarship money or am I negotiating the grant money? And you want to go back and make sure you can try to maximize both. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't try to negotiate. Now, obviously, I don't know which schools these are. Some schools are going to be very generous. Some schools are going to be not very generous. And some schools are not willing to negotiate at all. But I always tell parents, if you're looking to negotiate, especially scholarship money, I'm always looking to contact the admissions office and ask them, is there any way you can match a number or come close to a number or meet us in the middle? Next question here from 2 days ago. Learn at my expense. My son was accepted into the honors program for college where the net price calculator estimated $45,000 in grant money, but the award letter was only $39,000. Is this appealable? This is a tough one for me. As far as, I don't know if the $45,000 is grants or scholarships, but for that extra $6K, if the net price calculator is indicating $6K more, I don't see a problem with going back and saying, why are we getting $39,000 when your net price calculator is showing $45,000? I don't see an issue with having like a sit down or a Zoom meeting kind of situation with the financial aid officer at the college. So here I don't see a problem with going back and asking, where or why are we missing the $6,000 you guys are indicating on the college's net price calculator? I don't see a problem with going back here. Next question here from 2 days ago. Is the percentage deducted from financial aid is per year or the whole program of 4 years bachelor's? I'm not sure what you mean here, but if you're asking if you have a loss of financial aid 1 year, can it kind of come back? The answer is yes. Now, when it comes to financial aid, you guys are evaluated every single year. So every year, you guys do the financial aid forms after October 1st, anytime between October 1st and typically March for continuing students. You do the form again in anticipation of getting aid the next academic year. Now, there's an income increase, let's say, 1 year, and you lose some aid. But then the next year, you do your taxes and everything else, and your income kind of comes back down for whatever reason, or levels off where it used to be before. Your grant money can technically come back. So yes, if you lose aid for a year because of an increase in assets or income, etc., and it goes back to what the numbers were before, you typically will get your aid back, but for that 1 year, you will lose it because of the increase in the income or the assets. Next question here from a day ago from Leslie. Thank you, Cedar Grove High School here. Question, when negotiating with admissions over merit, do I call or email? Or does my daughter call or email? Good question. When it comes to appealing scholarship money, I typically like to utilize the student as the kind of like the leader, let's call it, the person calling as far as trying to do negotiation here. Now, if your student's not comfortable on the phone, I would look to do with an email, okay? If you're able to do a sit down face-to-face with the admissions officer, doesn't matter who's there. So you guys are both sitting there, let's call it, all three people are there, mom, dad, student. Doesn't matter who initiates the appeal of saying, we love the school here, we want to go here, top choice for her, but want to let you know, you guys are offering us X, this other school is offering us Y. Can you meet us at Y? Or is there any possibility here to increase your X to Y, or increase your X 2,000, 3,000, 4,000? Face-to-face, I'm okay with all three people, let's call it, trying to negotiate. So it doesn't matter who starts. If it's email, because the student doesn't feel comfortable on the phone, then email is fine to do it, but do it as the student's asking for the aid. Phone call, typically only if the student's comfortable. Okay, so basically, best case scenario for me with an appeal, especially scholarship money, face to face. Second, email, then third, phone call. And the question here from Leslie is actually our last question. So you got all your questions here for you guys. Once again, sorry it's been a little bit delayed. It's been a little bit crazy here with all the stuff, the high schools, and there's so many parents asking for help. So been kind of inundated with everything, but I've gotten back to your questions here, guys. So hopefully everyone has their answers here. Once again, if you're new to the channel and are reading over or just watching me answer questions here, if you have questions in the college process or financial aid, every Friday, I typically will make a video like this answering all the questions you guys leave on the comment section as I just did here today. So if you have questions about anything college related, leave them here on the comment section. I will get to your questions here and we'll answer them in detailed format here, in video format through Zoom here, and upload it onto our channel here, hopefully within a day or two of Friday. Other than that, thank you guys for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this format, please leave a like. It does help the channel. On the screen is my contact information. If you guys do need more help other than just asking questions here, I do help out families on a one-on-one basis through Zoom. So if you need questions answered or additional help or more resources, essentially, feel free to reach out. That's my cell phone number. You can either call or text me or shoot me an email, either one that can help you guys out through consultations. Other than that, thank you for watching today's video.